Please give it up for Reid Mihalko. Don't stick anything in your urethra.
Stick something in your urethra.
We have a backup like this.
Wow. Oh, hi everyone.
Hi.
So how many people know that I'm not kinky?
I knew that.
Okay. So in the vanilla world, I'm kinky. Group sex, I hang out with queer porn stars and geeks, and I do all kinds of, fun, interesting things. I'm like, oh, you guys don't know how to deep throat? Does anyone have a dildo? Is there a penis in the house? Oh, come here, I'll show everybody how to deep throat. Like, in the vanilla world, that's kinky. But in the kinky world, that's vanilla. Because I have seen things that make my inner 9-year-old, I don't like that man. However, some of you may know already that if you hang out with kinky people, your perspective on life starts to change. And acts of service is one of my main love languages for showing that I care. And if you start to tell me what turns you on, I also have a really, a big, I want to do a good job. If I know what turns you on, well, I might be able to do that for you. And if you start to get turned on by that, then I'm like, I'm turned on by that. I'm turned on by you getting turned on by that. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's do this. So over the years, thanks to hanging out with a bunch of perverts, my perspective on life has changed a little bit. And how many people know my partner, Allison Moon? How many of you slept with Allison? So, thank you, by the way.
Can I get louder next year?
So basically, Allie's like, well, I think I might be, turn into like a dirty old lesbian when I grow up. And I'm like, tell me more. What does that look like? And she's like, well, this and that. So we talk about like power play, and sometimes in our sex life, you have your friends who are like, fuck me harder. And you're like, yes. And they're like, harder. I'm like, are you okay? So, but I have friends who are like, no, you do it this way and swing with the lats. You'll get a lot more strength. And I'm like, okay. So I'm getting better at this slowly. And so one night, Allie and I have this thing where whoever cooks doesn't have to do the dishes in our house. This is a bone of contention for us because I like to cook and clean while I do this. So I'm like, this is not fair. And then so every once in a while we have a dinner where we both kind of cook, and then it's kind of up for grabs, like who does the dishes? And so one night, I'd been away for a while teaching. I come back home. We have this lovely dinner. We're like, almost like vanilla people, cutting vegetables and cooking. And how was your day? Oh, I missed you so much. Da, 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 da. Bonding. Food. I love you. And then it's dishes time. And I'm like, that motherfucker, she's gonna screw me out of this. And so it comes to a point where it's like, well, okay, so who's doing the dishes? I'm like, honey, you do the dishes. I'm an evil dom. And she's like, excuse me? And I'm like, okay, channel my dom. You do the dishes. Now in my head, I'm like, oh my God, we're being dominated. I hope that's okay. So we basically, because I'm a horrible dom, we basically get into this like, tag, you're it, no, you're it, you do the dishes. No, you do the dishes. And all of a sudden, like, we're wrestling, And then I'm just like, I fucking throw her down on the table, and then I'm like, ooh, and I'm like, you're doing the dishes, and I sit down, I put her over my knee, and I smack her. And up until this point, it was like, ooh, wrestling, but I like use my lats. And Allie goes, and then like, and every kinky conversation I ever had with you motherfuckers clicked into place, and I was like, hit her again, Reid. Yes. And she was like, but it was that kind of like, I'm gonna leap forward so that my ass is higher now. And I'm like, and now I'm like, she's getting turned on. That turns me on. Three's the charm. And I pick her up and I bend her over the table, and then I'm like, I pull her pants down, and I'm like, fucking running out with my fingers. I whip my cock out, which is hard, and I'm like, wow, I guess I'm kind of into this. I'm not moving enough. I'm spitting my hand, smack it, spit my hand, smack my hand. Because we're fluid bonded. And like, we're getting into this. And Allie, for those of you who care, can squirt sometimes. And so like, and I kind of like know what that feels like or sounds like. And so now at this point, her underwear is around her knees and her pants are there. We're on the table. I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I hope my roommates, they come home, this is hilarious. So I'm like, I'm starting to talk dirty to her because I'm like, oh my God, I'm a dom now, I can talk dirty. She's going, oh, you're gonna squirt, aren't you? And I pull out my cock and she just drenches her underwear. And in my head somewhere, I'm like, I think I'm doing this right. So put it back in. And then I'm like, you know, squirt like on my cock, like rain down on my cock, make it rain. And I kind of pull out and like put it under. And it's like, like what's her name from Flashdance? When she pulls the bucket? And now I'm there, and I'm like, honey, what did I say? What's my name?
No, you said, shit. You said, are you going to do the dishes when I ask you for the first time?
Oh yeah, are you gonna do the dishes when I ask you again? And she's like, oh my God. I'm like, are you gonna do the dishes? What's mine? Oh, and she goes, yes. And I go, yes, who? And we both look at each other knowing we hadn't figured out what my name is. Because it's like, it's gotta be a sexy name. It's not like, yes, Reid. That's not that. It's not, yes, dear. No. And she looks at me and I'm like, oh, and she's like, what's your name? And I'm like, I'm Batman.